Good morning, Ted. It's nice to see you today.
Nice to see you.
So before we begin, I'm just going to go over HIPAA with you. Pretty much anything that me and you talk about today is going to stay between you and I unless I feel that you are wanting to hurt yourself or others. Does that make sense?
I understand. Yes, that makes sense to me.
Okay. So since this is our last session, I wanted to start with what emotions are still troubling you and hopefully go through what we can do to solve them, if that's okay with you.
That sounds okay with me.
All right, so where did you want to begin today?
I think right now, my biggest thing I'm having problems with would be the fact that I'm going to school right now and it's getting towards the end of the semester and I have one class that I'm doing well in, but I'm getting below an A, which I feel I should be getting in that class. I feel that my grade is very important to me, and I try to do as best I can. And when I don't get an A, I just really kind of kick myself around about it a lot.
So you kind of have some negative thoughts about yourself, even though you're still passing.
Negative thoughts about myself. I would say slight negative thoughts towards my work, but I think more or less I'm actually upset with the teacher himself because I feel as though he is being unfair. And I know that sounds almost like I'm trying to say that I'm right and that the teacher doesn't know what he's doing and he's being unfair, which is what I said. I feel he's being unfair, but I really feel like he's picking apart all my assignments. And no matter how many times I correct them to his liking, no matter how many times I change it when he has me make changes, no matter what changes I make when I have other people look at it and then look at it myself again and revise it, I feel as though nothing's good enough. And even when I feel as though the paper itself is perfect, I mean, perfect from every period to every comma to every reference to the font size, the spacing, he'll still put something in there about it could be done differently, even though it really is professional as it gets, and anybody else that would look at it, and I've shown some of the papers to multiple people to see their feelings on it, and a lot of these people are, 4.0 grade point average students throughout university college, and they don't see anything wrong with it. He can still pick it apart and find at least 2 to 3 things minimum, even after making all the corrections that I was told by himself to make. And it really irritates me. And I'm not going to say that I'm feeling negative feelings towards myself about it, like I didn't do it correctly, or I think I didn't do well on it. I'm pissed off at the teacher himself, really.
Yeah, I understand that. That would be very frustrating to put all your effort and do all these corrections and do what he's saying and still not get the grade that you feel you deserve.
Yes.
Have you talked to your instructor at all about the issues that you're having with his grading?
I've kind of mentioned it that I think that he's harsh on it because I mentioned the fact that I multiple times had changed it to his liking, and that still I'm getting errors on the paper, even though I changed it exactly how he wrote it down and wanted me to change it. And I feel like I kind of addressed it with him, but it still seems to be him just almost not being able to give out a good passing grade because he feels as though nobody can do it perfect or as well as he could. But if everything's getting changed the way he wants, and it's still not good enough.
Have these discussions been over the phone, email, in person?
Face to face.
Okay.
So
So are there any ways that you think any way that this is affecting the rest of your life? Is this causing stress outside of school as well?
I think it does. I think me dwelling on him not being able to, I don't even know how to put it, um, admit or give out a good grade bothers me enough to where it actually causes stress in other parts of my life because I think about it at other times. I think about it while I'm at work. I think about it while I'm, out doing things in my free time. Um, and I'll bring it up sometimes with other people, even when I'm not at school, even when I'm at work. I bring it up because it does bother me. It bothers me a lot. But I mean, in general, it's not affecting my performance or anything else in my personal life, other than it really irritates me because I know and feel like I should be getting a better grade, but I'm not. And I know I can't control it. That's another thing that bothers me. I can't control what he does, and I can't control my grade because no matter how I try, it's not gonna be what I want it to be, no matter what.
Okay. Now I know you say that you're trying really hard and you're doing all the corrections and everything that he wants. Is there anything that you think you could change to get a better grade, or do you feel that you're giving all that you can?
I feel as though I'm giving a good amount, but I really guess in all reality, to be 100% honest, I could probably spend just a little bit more time on it and go over it 4 or 5 more times than I already do, which I go over multiple times. And I probably could get a little bit better of a grade, yes.
Okay. What things do you think that you could start doing to make your efforts in your classes a little stronger? What are some ideas that you have?
I could probably spend more time, um, like I said, going over the paper itself, um, reading reading the material that I'm doing the report on a little more thoroughly, and maybe read it one more time than I already do to get everything straightened out enough to, you know, arrange everything appropriately and have it organized. And that would help. And it would, obviously, if I do that, it would probably sound better. So a lot of it probably is somewhat my fault, but I still feel as though I'm doing better than what I'm getting because I do put a lot of effort into it.
Okay, so far from what you've told me, I understand that you feel somewhat irritated that you aren't getting the grade that you want in your class. I would assume that you're kind of discouraged because you feel that even though you're trying very hard and you're not getting that A. And we also went over some things that you could try to change as well to get the better grade. Is there anything else that has been stressing you out or causing you anxiety lately?
Other than that, work has caused a little bit of stress.
Okay, tell me more about that.
I put in a lot of hours at work. I kind of I try to do my best there too, and a lot of times I don't get as much appreciation as I feel I should, which is kind of a given, I think, with anybody in their job. But I mean, I almost feel as though I get zero appreciation some days. It really feels like nobody says thank you some days. They don't appreciate what you do for them, and they kind of are, not to sound rude, but kind of an asshole to me a lot of the times.
Have you ever brought those feelings up to any of your coworkers or your boss?
No, I really don't address that at work because I don't feel it's appropriate because I think it causes or would cause more tension in my work environment. So I kind of stay away from that, but I just try to be nice to them and, hope that it rubs off somewhat.
If you could change anything about your employment, what would you want to change?
I would say I would like to filter out the people that are more negative and kind of don't work well. If I could change anything, I mean, that would be the biggest thing. Um, the people that don't pull their own weight and they rely on everybody else to do everything that's left over because they're too lazy to do it, or in a bad mood that day, or just don't care.
Well, after these few sessions that we have had together, I can tell that you are a really good worker and you try to put your all into your work, and I think that's great, even though some of your coworkers are kind of lacking that. I can tell that you're really passionate about your schooling and your career, and I've noted that you told me that. Have you ever thought about reducing your hours at work to kind of relieve your stress? Is that an option for you?
That would be an option. I work more than I have to only because, like I said, I work with a lot of people that somewhat don't care about their job. They slack because they know they can get away with it. That leaves a lot of work for everyone else to do. So I kind of work extra days, extra hours, overtime to make up for that and make sure that I'm there. So somebody that is there is making sure it's getting done, the work. So yes, I could cut down my hours and I could work less. Um, it could possibly relieve stress in my life, but on that note, if I'm not at work, I know nobody's there getting the work done, and that if they are getting it done, there's corners being cut, and the what's needed to be done isn't necessarily getting done, or it isn't getting done properly. And that itself bothers me and causes a little bit of stress in my life because I think about that kind of stuff. Even when I'm not at work, I think about it enough to where it does cause stress in my life. So I somewhat feel as though I would have to be doing something to keep my mind off of that work and thinking about it. Um, Otherwise, it wouldn't really relieve much stress. It might even cause more stress, if that makes any sense.
I can definitely sense that you do put a lot of pressure on yourself um, to almost be perfect, I would say. Have you always felt that you needed to um, pick up the slack and excel in almost everything?
I would say I don't. I don't know if I feel like that. I just was raised by parents who both worked long hours, jobs that were, um, you know, detail oriented. So you have to make sure that things are done properly. My dad always worked 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week at his jobs he had, and he was their main go-to guy that took care of all the problems and made sure everything was the way it should be so that things are done right when they actually get to the job being done. Um, when I grew up as a kid, he worked 12 to 14 hours every single day, 6 days a week. My mom always worked multiple jobs, two 2 to 3 jobs at a time her whole life as I grew up as a child. She always did her job as well as she could, as well as anybody could for that matter, and made sure that she did it well.